Hey friends, it's Eden here. So today I want to share with you something that I've observed, either from talking to people, um, really mainly from talking to people or just observing people within a certain circle in terms of how what they say they want corresponds to their behavior. And I just want to break any myth that you may have in your head that building your beauty brand is always going to be easy. Okay, so what's going to be easy is assimilating the actual knowledge it takes. Okay, the knowledge it takes to do it, that part is going to be easy. But there's always going to be some sort of hurdle in implementation. We all have different strengths, and at some point, the areas where you're weak are going to show up to greet you as you move forward. And I just want to prepare you for that. And the harsh truth I want to share, and it is a bit harsh, but I hope that if you just want to do a beauty brand because it sounds good to you, maybe you're not really even that passionate about it, but you think, oh, that's a hot thing right now. Maybe I could just do it as a side hustle, or your focus is on making millions and millions of dollars, but you aren't necessarily focused on building a brand with integrity and, just starting from scratch and seeing where it goes. Then, I hope this video does scare you away so that you can put your intentions and your heart and your efforts into something that truly suits you, that truly reflects your own unique divine blueprint. Okay, so whether you're for real or whether you're kind of a poser or whatever is going on with you, this video is for you. And I'm sharing this from the heart, not trying to be mean, but having a frank discussion that often isn't had, and that's that pursuing your goals is often inconvenient. It's just not always going to be convenient, okay? Because sometimes people say they value, black-owned things and so forth, but when it comes time to spend their money, they still go to, the beauty supply where we're treated badly, or they're buying products that aren't made by other black entrepreneurs. And I understand you're not going to be able to do it all the time, but there's always ways in which you can figure things out, and it's going to require sacrifice. Okay, so building your own beauty brand, some people will say, I don't have the money for it. But then when we start talking and kind of digging deeper into their budget, I'll discover that they might have a $300 pair of shoes, several of those, or their kids have more toys than they can use, and they keep buying more toys month after month, or, they have multiple sort of entertainment channels that they, sponsor, when that's really sucking up their time and they could be using that to fund their dream. Or they're just unwilling to wait a few months and accumulate funds so that they can buy things at bulk at a better price. So, what sacrifices are you willing to make for the things you value? Are you willing to drive a little farther? Are you willing to go to bed earlier so you can get up early? Are you willing to, eat well and exercise and so forth so that you have more energy to accomplish things? Are you willing to spend time with, information? There's all kinds of free information you can sit with to learn the craft, or even paid information. Are you willing to experiment? What are you willing to do? And none of it is going to be comfortable when you first start. There's no part of it that's comfortable at all. But if you value what you say you value, then you're willing to deal with the inconvenience of doing something that's not comfortable. Okay? The smartphones and computers, and eventually even computers will be obsolete, right? All those things are dominating right now and disrupting all kinds of business. So you are going to have to be willing to put yourself out there. You're going to have to create some sort of social media presence. In my digital strategy video, I say start with the one thing you're comfortable with. So if you know your strength is writing, then start with blogs. Like blogs and Pinterest is a good combination, or blogs and Instagram, but somewhere where you can link people back to your blogs. Really, blogs you can link from anywhere, even from Twitter. But one platform, social media platform you're comfortable with, and blogging. Okay, and then eventually, you can do voice, or you can get in front of the camera as you warm up to it. But you have to consistently be putting out content where people actually are hanging out. Okay, addressing people's pain points, teaching them how to take care of themselves, so that eventually when they're ready, they will circle back round to either buy or recommend your product. And initially it's uncomfortable. And sometimes even after doing it for many years, it still is uncomfortable. But anytime you feel that discomfort, you are growing, and that doesn't always feel convenient. Sometimes it requires a sacrifice of time, a sacrifice of income, a sacrifice of energy. And I use the word sacrifice for lack of a better choice. It may feel like a sacrifice initially when you're doing it. But if you're meant to do this, and this whole scene is in alignment with your divine blueprint, where you're supposed to be going, then it'll really feel like sowing a seed into your dream more than like a sacrifice. But if you're sitting on the sidelines, everything looks like a sacrifice, everything looks like a sacrifice. So that's just the way it is. And also knowing that you're going to have to learn sometimes by making mistakes. You're not going to get it right every single time. Okay? You're going to mess up. I mess up all the time myself, because I'm a human being just like you, not because I'm special or anything, or I'm trying to be falsely humble, but that's a part of the learning process. And as you move forward, you get better. Okay? So how willing are you to do that? And it's going to require that you love and accept yourself, fully. And, are you going to be feeling that way? Very few people feel that way 100% of the time. Okay? But the more you practice it, the more you start to feel that. Because putting yourself out there requires that people accept what you're offering no matter what. Loving and accepting yourself unconditionally means that you charge what your prices, what your products are actually worth. And sometimes, people will cheapen their products because they think that that's all that the market will bear, and that's not necessarily true. People are buying a value system. They're buying the care that they feel when they're in your hands. They're buying, energy. They're investing in a certain thing. They're aligning their money with their values. They want to buy from the farmer's market. They want to buy, from a black-owned business or a woman-owned business, or they want to support a fellow mom, or whatever they're trying to do. And it's worth it to them to pay $19 as opposed to $12. It's worth it for them to pay $32 instead of $14 for your product. So you have to understand that these are all things that are there. And if you love and accept yourself fully, you can put yourself out there and you can take all the right steps and just allow whoever shows up to show up, without projecting about what people can afford and, am I good enough to do this? Is it good enough to do that? If you've put your heart and soul into it and you've done it the right way, then charge the right price for it. Okay? I'm not saying gouge people's eyeballs out, but charge 4 to 6 times what it costs you to make the product. And I'll do a video sometime this week, with slides just to make it easier to see, about how to actually break down the cost of your product. Because people, I think, have been asking about that. Like, it's not always clear to people how to assess what the true cost of their product is, in order for them to charge, 4 to 6 times. 3 times minimum if you're only doing direct to consumer. But if you ever hope to see retail shelf space, 4 to 6 times is essential, or else you'll end up broke. Okay? And, convenience. In order to put yourself out there and to succeed in your beauty business, that's not always going to be convenient. One of the discomforts you'll feel is you will have to ask yourself different questions. You'll have to ask yourself, how can I make things work, instead of why isn't this working? How can I make things work? How can I figure out a way to afford this? How can I figure out a way to create time for this? How can I figure out a way to make this emulsion not separate? How can I, all those questions will come up. So you have to keep asking the right questions, and asking from a place where your cup is filled instead of it always being half empty, okay? Because people who aren't as smart as you or determined as you have gone farther because they were willing to experience discomfort, and some of you value comfort more than you value actually attaining your goal, and as long as that's the case, you'll always have sort of half efforts or misguided efforts, and your results will be wishy-washy, okay? And so asking from a place of a full cup means doing two things. One is a practice that I picked up from a lady who has a business called Coach Your Damn Self. And I forget her name. I'll try and put it in the link below to her Facebook group. But she has a thing in her 30-day challenge where one day it's called empty your pockets. Empty your pockets and see what's in there. Like when we were kids and we wanted to get a treat, and there was 3 of us, but we didn't quite have enough money, and we emptied our pockets and we just put our pennies together, and we ended up being able to buy whatever, 2 lollies and share them or whatever. It's the same way. So you need to empty your pockets and see, what do I really have? What are the resources that I have? And how can I work within this? What can I move forward with just the $20 I have, or with just the $2,000 I have, or whatever it is you have gathered? What can I do with this 40 minutes a day that I've managed to put together to move forward? So empty your pockets and see what you have, and see what you can realistically do, instead of always coming from a point of I don't have, because you won't see if you can only think of I don't have. Okay? And then also practicing gratitude. And one of the greatest things for practicing gratitude is asking better questions, for sure. And one of the queens of asking great questions is a friend of mine by the name of Lori H. Harris, who is a coach. And she's a life coach, and one of the things she does is help Black women over 40 find love. But she also has an app called the Gratitude Train, and it's a free app. You can get it on your phone, whether you have an Android or an iPhone. You can get it from Google Play Store or Apple Store. It's totally free. And if you have Mac products, I think you can even download it to PC from iTunes. It's completely free. I don't get anything out of it other than to share with you a great resource. And every day you just get, you can tap into it any day, and there's a new, sort of like a short reading. It takes like 2 minutes to read, and a question or an exercise that you can go through. And the process really kind of helps you take inventory of where you are and what you have, and can help you start your day in a positive way, or reset the tone of your day if you're having kind of like an off day, and just sort of start practicing gratitude in that way. And in terms of gratitude journaling, I found that this was probably the longest I've ever kept a gratitude journal from using this app, because it just makes it sort of instead of trying to take inventory of 1,000 things in your life and just sort of reaching, you can actually use the questions to guide you to be grateful for something that's truly meaningful to you. Truly meaningful to you. And that is the deal. Like, it has to be truly meaningful, and you have to be truly grateful in order to feel the vibe that keeps you in that higher place, instead of in that place of complaining from which no solutions ever come. Okay? So that's what I'm sharing today, that the truth isn't convenient. You're going to be required to do things that you don't want to do, that you never thought you'd do, that you were too embarrassed to do, that you felt you didn't have time to do. It's going to stretch you as a human being. Anything worth having is going to stretch you as a human being. And anything worth having takes time to build. Stop being in such a rush. It's like anything. It's like completing your degree. It's like raising your family. It's, like saving for a trip. Things take time to do and to create. So stop being in such a rush. Start with one thing and build from there. All right? I hope this was helpful to you and helps to keep you going if you feel like quitting. And if you feel like quitting because it's the right thing to do, I hope you feel some level of being able to release yourself from this, and if you know that this is what you're supposed to do, I hope it encourages you to keep moving forward. Whatever you do, just keep moving forward. All right. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye.